Hi, I'm David Charlton, and this is the Demystifying Mental Toughness podcast. 5 minutes for a series of 6 episodes on a Tuesday for those interested in football or soccer, and in this case, specifically for coaches and parents. Welcome to episode 223 of Demystifying Mental Toughness. I hope you're well and your week's got off to a good start. Today's episode, well, it's going to be the first episode of a new series dedicated to football. And I was going to go down the route of organising a series of 10 episodes like I did late last year. However, some challenges in the business and personally have cropped up, as they do from time to time, so I've decided to shorten the series down to 6 episodes. I've also decided to look at this from a different angle, so it's not just for players. This is going to be organised so we have 3 podcast episodes for coaches, and then we're going to have 3 podcast episodes for parents of young footballers too. Today, we're going to get underway with the coaches though. Having said that though, in all honesty, parents will benefit from this too. So the challenge I want to talk about relates to one word: outcome. At least outcome talk, that is. Outcome, what is it? Well, it's related to results. The team winning, the team losing, the team drawing, familiar questions. Did you win today? Other outcomes in football. Well, you've got scoring a goal, executing a great pass, keeping a clean sheet. If you're a goalkeeper, I think it's fair to say if you go into a high number of football clubs, arguably 95% plus, there's going to be an awful lot of outcome talk. Praise like well done, great goal, great pass, or well done on the clean sheet. This is a 3-point game. We must win today. And this is all very, very normal. Emotions, well, they drive it. When we get excited, when somebody does something great, it's a nice place to be, isn't it? Jumping up and down, shouting, screaming. And it seems to be our natural human tendency, if you like, to focus on outcomes, possibly because of this emotion that drives it. And what's good about this? Well, if we think about emotion and we think about outcomes, it certainly develops a competitive person. Someone whose arousal goes up as they have that drive and that determination to succeed. Good characteristics. I'm sure you'll agree. On the flip side, and if you think about the team that's losing with 10 minutes to go, often, again, that arousal level is going to creep up and you're going to see them trying harder at the end because obviously they want to try and score a goal. They want to draw the game or perhaps score 2 goals and win the game. Good things, you would think. Maybe, or could we question that? If this desire came from within, would we actually see that more often? And that the scoreline actually wouldn't really matter. Players would actually have that high level of intensity anyway. Well, in my book, I would say outcome talk certainly does have an influence on this type of behaviour. And another reason why outcome talk maybe isn't a good thing, well, it can create pressure. An awful lot of pressure for some people. And why I say some people is that the mentally tough person won't be so concerned by pressure. They'll handle it better, but not everyone is mentally tough. We tend to find youngsters, children, and young adults especially can struggle in this regard. And let's face it, football or soccer is a young person's game. You know, our brains, they're not fully developed until we're about 30 years old. And as humans, we learn from experiences. So in our youth, in our 20s, there's a lot going on in our heads. We're trying to forge our identity. We're trying to answer questions in our mind like, who am I? Where do I fit in here? Why do I play football? What's important to me in my life? And we find this out over time through experiences, different experiences. They go on to shape us. They help us pick up tools and help us learn to adapt to situations. Back to outcome talk though. Outcome talk, well, again, if we think about emotions, it can provoke fear. Fear for many players. And when they don't know how to handle fear, when it just happens, to many they go through some emotional turmoil, which can become unhelpful. Patience and really understanding individual players is key here. Another problem, well, it's control. If you're a central midfielder, a striker, or a goalkeeper, you can't control the scoreline. That's right, you just cannot control the score. The goalkeeper, okay, They may have a bigger impact on the score than some, at least some people would argue, but at the end of the day, the ball, while it could take an unlucky bobble or bounce, or towards the end of the game, a fantastic game by a goalkeeper, well, they could get beaten by a worldie into the top corner. So a thing to consider here, and this is my big point from this short episode, if the talk is a lot about outcomes, then you really are setting your players up for a lot of emotion, lots of ups and downs, and most likely a lot of negative emotion, given our brain's tendency to focus on the negative. So, what I'd like you to do is put your thinking cap on now. Think about the feelings that are associated with losing: frustration, sadness, disappointment. What about the feelings that are associated with winning a tackle? When you're a little guy or a girl against a much bigger player, you'll be determined, you'll be committed, you'll be elated at winning the tackle. Now, losing the tackle, though, it can lead to disappointment, to sadness, to self-criticism, especially if you lose out or are consumed by fear of bigger, more physical opponents. And the feeling from the player at the end of the day is that they're just not good enough. Another outcome, well, it could be the striker this time. Striker misses a great chance to score a goal, to win a trophy for their team. Failure, well, it's the outcome here. And what happens? They're disappointed, they're angry at themselves. If it's talked a lot about, well, you might well get an angry response, or a low-key response, a hands-up apology. They know they should have buried it. Embarrassment can come into it too, and coupled with anger, well, these are very strong negative emotions. And if you're a person who struggles to control your emotions and harness them in the right way, which some players do, can become a problem. Scoring a goal, well, that often evokes a lot of celebrations, pats on the back, happiness, excitement, all nice things, good things. We all enjoy this. Yet for some players, they switch off after a goal. Their intensity levels drop, their concentration's poor. They bask off that goal. All in all, outcomes, outcome talk, it really does have a huge impact on a player's performance, on a player's confidence, on a player's resilience, and their ability to bounce back after mistake. Outcome talk might well mean some of your players are going to go missing. They're going to hide. Their body language might be poor too. Actually, it can be atrocious in some. And if they're a kid, really young, maybe under the age of 10, there might be a lot of tears into the mix. So, a message for coaches, I'd say just watch your outcome talk. Also think about the emotion that comes with specific outcomes in football, in soccer, and especially if you're working with younger players whose brain is in its early stages of development. It's an emotional game, soccer, football, as are all sports. We don't want to create robots. We really want to be able to help players accept emotions are part of being human. We want to help players accept emotions are part of the game itself. We want to help players use their emotions to enhance their performance while being more aware of themselves. When their emotions get out of control, when it begins to impede their performance levels and perhaps their enjoyment. I hope you've enjoyed this episode. It's given you some food for thought. Next Tuesday, you're going to find some more musings from me to help you as a football coach question yourself.